Hello and welcome back. As you can see here, we've got the wonderful model of the Class 37 from Hornby. I think this is an early 70s one with the extra pickups, making very light work of that diamond crossing. A wonderful rake of blue and grey Mark 1s, a couple of parcels there at the front of it. Lovely shot under the bridge there. Now we are going to have a look at the Blue Pullman, a variation that came along in 1974 only in the set R.538. We'll just bring this lot back into the station, and there is the Pullman just waiting for service. Just watch as this 37 comes to a stop. It's lovely as the motor just drops off. That's very crude, isn't it? Just switch the points and just look how smooth this Pullman is. Now she's pushing those coaches out of the station there. Lovely sound, very responsive to the controller as well. Remember, just 2 pickups on this as well. So we'll have a little run back round to the station, through the points. Let's see how she does with the diamond crossing. As I said, she was only available in the set for just the 1 year in 1974, just with an oval of System 6 track, power clip and so on. We'll just bring it to a stop here and we'll just wait for the points to change. Lovely shot looking across all those curved points, curved approach, into the station. Class 37 there sitting on the right and under the canopy, and then we'll have a nice gentle stop just where we started from a few moments ago. And there is the Pullman train set in the 74 catalogue running across the middle of page 8 and 9. So a couple of those sets have power controllers, which is quite a newish thing. I think only the odd set or two had them before. That Freightmaster set really is quite bright, isn't it, with those colourful wagons. We'll just have a swift look at the older information about the set there. Have a quick read through that if you want to. And then that picture on the box there, so it's part picture box and part window box, isn't it? I've never seen one of these sets in real life, never seen the box for real. I've only ever seen the odd one of these for sale, and mine definitely doesn't have its box or any instructions. So we'll just close the catalogue. We'll have a leaf through it a bit later on. Terence Cuneo's fantastic images there. It has both years, 74 and 75, edition 20. The price ticket seems to have been peeled away a long time ago. You can see the gluey edge there. And it has Terence Cuneo's signature in the corner there. And I think is that a date of 65 there, if I'm reading that correctly. So we'll just pop that down, have a swift look over the models. Now I had a couple of videos earlier with the different variations of this model, so we're not going to go into those. So if you'd like to look at the variations a little bit more closely, I'll leave a link to that in the description box. So we're just going to have a look at this 74 model today. So we'll have a swift look over the driving car, the one with the motor bogie in it. So we can see we've got Pullman's name. There seems to be an electric blue. We've got the crest in the middle, and this band just seems to be sprayed or painted on. Great seating detail inside. Have a swift look around the end of the car there. They've survived fairly well, these. There is that quite a bit of damage on the one side. Not damage, the paint has just chipped away there, hasn't it? Perhaps in and out of the toy box a bit too many times. But this one does have the smooth wheels on the motor bogie. So this is the only pickups here on this model, so it does quite well. But it really does change the characteristic, I'll get the words out, characteristic of this model, having the smooth wheels over the earlier models, which have that very distinctive sound. Some lovely sort of underframe detail there too, isn't there? And I think if we look closely, we've got Triang's name here rather than Hornby Railway, so I don't think they've bothered to alter the mould from the earlier 63 when the Pullman model really came along then, and the variations over the years. And that mounting screw just off centre. Plastic drive gears too, so we'll pop that one down. And we'll just have a look at the centre car. Again, the paintwork survived quite nicely on the roofs, so it's usually quite often damaged on the roofs. It's quite a soft paint, I think, and chips off. So we'll just have a swift look around there. Again, these are plastic wheels on here, so the axle and wheels are moulded as one and pinpoints. So they're relatively smooth, and they do quieten the model down quite a bit, I think, having the plastic axle as well. Although perhaps metal axles would be better. They don't distort quite as much, so we'll just pop that one down. And then we'll have a swift look over the dummy car. Again, fairly nice condition. So I think most people prefer that earlier version that came along in 63 with the blue front end and the crest. But they are quite a distinctive front end, these, aren't they? Great with the red buffer shank at the bottom end, at the bottom of the locomotive there. Again, I think they're just models of their time. I think possibly this is just brought back as a sort of stopgap, really, perhaps. It didn't last long in the catalogue in the 70s. So I think we'll run out of the station the other direction this time. We'll run this way, and my plan is to come out through here, but rather than go back onto the outside line, is to come through this crossover here. So that this is points 2Y or 2 yellow, and we'll have a go around the inside line. So let's see if we can get that lot to work. We'll just swing back round to the controllers, and I think all I need to do is throw this one and perhaps close the route onto the outside line there. And now let's give this a little power and see if it does what we think it's going to do. Let's sort of ease that away from the station. Just calm that down for a moment, or bring it to a stop even, and we'll just switch that crossover, and then let's have another gentle run round and see if we can get some perhaps more interesting shots as we go around. I'm just going to zoom in a little, so just excuse the jump in the picture size there. Let's give that a go and see how we get on with that. So we'll get her running nice and gently. I think we'll slow that down a little now. So I think we'll back her up. Actually, no, we'll just take her round. I'm just going to widen the camera a little. I still keep going the wrong way with this controller though. So let's give this another go. go, I got the right way with the controller and everything there. So I think that was fairly successful. It really is quite a lovely model. Doesn't have that distinctive sound that the earlier Blue Pullman had with the ribbed wheels, but lovely and smooth, this particular model. And there we have the motor bogie, a very old running item. I think used right up into the 70s. I think it's on a diesel rail car as well. Very basic. I think it's a far more reliable thing than that in the Class 37 we saw running on the layout a little earlier on. Definitely, as it has its bearings held firmly rather than floating in plastic mounts. So I think it does the job reasonably well. Quite powerful, so we'll pop that down. Actually, did we have a swift look on the underside of it there? Got that sort of wire sprung pickup and plastic cogs. Seems to have a crosshead type screw there. Not sure whether that's an original one or not, so we'll just pop that down. So we'll have a look at the other parts that make up the motor car here. So here is the chassis unit, and it's got the sorry, I'm holding it out of shot there. It's got this seating unit. Now, they're usually plugged in quite firmly, although this one seems to float around a bit. The pin that holds it into the chassis seems to have broken away or has sort of distorted a little. Doesn't plug into the chassis quite as well as it could. So we'll just have a quick look over that seating unit there with the separately fitted lamps there. Quick glance on the underside there. We'll pop that down. We have a couple of nice heavy weights there to give it a bit more traction. So perhaps I'll hold on to those when we turn it over. See, in the motor, and just grab the motor here. The motor bogie just rests in that area there, and a screw through the top to hold it in place. So I'll just pop that down. Nice sort of shouldered screw there, the great big slot on the top of it. Again, we'll just pop that down again. It's all fairly basic. It's all sort of quite rattly plastic. So we'll just pop that down. And we'll have a quick glance while we've got the thing split apart. Have a quick glance at the inside. So this just has the glazing strips on the inside. Some of the earlier models have that flush glazing effect, which was quite pretty on the outside. So there we can see we've just got two strips of acetate or cellophane glued in across the windows there. I'm not sure whether we have Triangle or Hornby Railway's name on the inside there. We do have a part number tucked in down there. I don't know whether we can just read that down there. Are we getting the focus on that? You can see some significant overspray there from the yellow through the windows also. Just a separately fitted plastic acetate just glued in there to give that effect. And again, that securing screw would go into there, that off-centre securing screw. So all fairly basic, long-running mould, I think. I got plenty of use out of this over the years. So I think we should switch a few points now and get her to run over the incline section. So I just need to switch number 3G and 1G. 3G will take her off the inside line and onto the elevated section. So let's give that a go. And then 1G is all the way over there. You can see where the point from the elevated section just drops back down onto the main line. So I'll flip that. So I have wired the controllers over the last week, so I can pick either one of them now and control the entire layout, or split it into two circuits, which makes it more practical. So let's give that a little bit of power, just in case we're wondering which 2G is. 2G just controls the approach into the coal unloading area up here where we've got the maroon ginty. So just in my head that makes sense to have those just all as one group controlling that particular area of the layout. As I say, not anything to do with real railway signalling or point control, but it just sort of makes sense in my mind. So let's give this a little power now and get her up and over the elevated section. So let's see how we do. Fairly effortless. Be a great contrast in colour, that locomotive with that bridge. I think she's going to tear away down here. See how she does with the diamond crossing. A little bit of a stutter. And we're just going to have to bring her to a stop, I think. There we have it. So if I close 1G and 3G again, we'll just hear those go in the background. Then we'll be able to run right around the outside line again. So let's give that a little bit more power. I think we'll try a bit more of an express train speed this time. So here we go. Was pretty good. So much fun, in fact. I think we'll just try that the other way around. So we'll reverse the direction. So we're pushing this time. I'm going to be a bit gentler with it because I'm not so confident she'll stay on the rails of pushing the coaches around at that speed. Tiny stutter on that diamond again. Coming around the back of the station. Yeah, I can't get the hang of this. These controllers. Sorry. I'm always turning, when I want to calm it down, I'm turning the wrong direction. I'm turning that way for some reason. Never mind, I'm sure we'll get the hang of it one day. But I hope you enjoyed that. That's, I have to say, it's quite good fun running this around the railway like that. So let's pop her back into the station where we came from. So I think 1B's open. And that's just going to run back in onto the platform there. So we'll change the direction, he says, hopefully. And there we go. Let's see if we can drive her back onto the platform, not onto the platform. Let's bring her through the point work. Look at that, turning the controller in the correct direction and everything. So I think she looks quite smart there. So I said earlier on we should probably just have a quick leaf through that catalogue, but sadly I've left it on the all the way over here, so let's see if I can go and grab that and see. We didn't get a chance to use the turntable today, but I'm sure we will next time. Let's grab that. Let's see if we can get an area where we can lie this out a little bit and have a look. We saw this great Terence Cuneo picture on the cover earlier, so we'll just open that up and have a look. Great picture there, studio picture. Some of this bears some resemblance to the point work on the inside of my older layout. I think some of this layout plan came from there, and it evolved from there on. It was track plan number 9, I can't remember which year catalogue. It came from one of the earlier 70s catalogues. So some wonderful illustrations there just to demonstrate some of the features of the range. I quite like those. It's quite a nice image. Little clockwork sets. That's an interesting wagon too. So I recently got hold of one of those, but I think the colouring is different. And then we saw this page a bit earlier on. And those bright coloured coaches, we've got those out on the layout. We just zoomed past those. We've been using those over the last few weeks, but here we've got that quite late princess, very glossy princess. Perhaps we should get her out and give her a charge around the rails for a while. Again, another locomotive that's excellent fun to use. So we had the Lord Westwood out a little while back. And again, we've got one of these Class 37s. I think that's model number R.538. Still with the original Trine motor bogie. And there we've got the sort of early mid-70s mail coach there. I do have one of those. So it's just finding an area to get that installed on the railway. I think that could be quite a lot of fun now the layout's this size. Yeah, we must get around to that as well. Had plenty of action with the coal unloading bridge. Track packs, they're quite interesting, aren't they? I think this is before they had the little plastic mat that you could lay everything down on. There's those great controllers that I'm taking advantage of at the moment. All very inspiring, these pictures, and there's that wonderful station. I'm using elements of that on the railway at present. So I've got a temptation to put some more of that in, where I'm thinking of putting the goods yard, but the width, it's going to involve me building a bit too much more on the side of the railway, as I'm just short of a bit of space. I'm also tempted, where I'm storing the coaches at the moment, to put a bit of a platform in, but I think I might resist. So again, those banked controllers. I've got the 9F there. We haven't had one of those out on the railway for a while. I think it's probably well overdue. And the old Class 47. You see my catalogue's coming apart here. The staples are away. It's the trouble. The paper gets old and things begin to break away. Lovely cutaway shot there. Great collection, isn't it? They are quite bright, aren't they? The greens are brighter than they appear on the page as well. These models are very, very green. The reds jump out quite well on this printing. A lot of white space on that page. They've got that closed in a little bit more there. So it is quite a range, isn't it? This is just before the era when they're getting around to changing to that newer style of coach. These are sort of interesting. There's a number of variations of that type of wagon over the years. I think that started out for sets, to put in cheap wagons for sets. Still, once we get the goods yard installed, we should have some more of these goods wagons out. Crane and the unloader for the I'm forgetting. Containers is the word I'm looking for. Containers. Perhaps I should have built that in. But you can't get everything in. That shows the versatility of these station parts. So I was thinking, trying to put something like that down the far side of the layout, but there just isn't the width left. I'm short of, I need at least 11.5 inches to make that work, and I'm short of, I think, is it 1.5 or 2 inches at least needs. I don't fancy building more onto the side of the baseboard. It's just going to make moving in the room, in and out of the room, because it's so close to the door. It's going to make that quite uncomfortable. The bridges have definitely switched to green here, haven't they, rather than the old bright red one that I've got there. Still, these still look quite bright red. And there's that turntable. I don't know whether we can see. There's converter tracks, not uncoupling tracks. So you've got that double height. You've got the ramp up to the turntable, and you've got the change in height on the rail height as well. I don't know whether we can get that in. That's what I was struggling with, especially with the tender drive locomotives. It just accentuates that rocking effect. It's not gone away, but it's an awful lot better. So there we have it, System 6 track geometry. I think we're getting to the end of the catalogue. It's quite an interesting item on the back. There we go, market research questionnaire. Probably shouldn't give this gentleman's name here, so I'll blank that out later, so we can't read it. So somebody obviously filled it in at some point. So there's a range of items that they're promoting. No dealer stamp there on the back of the catalogue, but they're sort of scenery items, aren't they? And quite a few of them picked out there. But thanks again for watching. It's hugely appreciated. And if you look back again next time, we'll have something else interesting from the range to look at. Goodbye now.